What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Beta Memoirs. And today we have a good one for you. Powell has come out and disclosed essentially the same song and dance that he has done. He has made some changes as far as lending with the banks, essentially not allowing banks to benefit from holding on to cash. So essentially restrictions for loans will be diminished. So more than likely, loans will come out a lot easier than they have been. Being said, everything else is not changing. They're continuing to going to buy bonds, which was a major thing that people were worried about. Janet Yellen actually came out earlier today in discussing this and saying that rates were low, that they should that the Federal Reserve essentially should take advantage of that. And that is essentially what Powell is doing, allowing the banks to try to get out these low rate interest rates to help rebuild infrastructure, to help build all these other different things. And being said, you have Powell who's taking advantage of that and made a very smart move, in my opinion, that will allow all essentially value and growth to continue to run. Now, with that being said, the market didn't initially like it because they were thinking it was tapering, but it does take an overnight session to ultimately understand what is going on. So I wouldn't be surprised. We did come down quite a bit. I wouldn't be actually surprised if we continue to move down a little bit tomorrow, find a nice base, and then start shooting up. I myself took position in shares in Tesla because I found there were a lot of buyers at that 595 mark. So I took shares at that point. It has pushed up since, been floating around that 602 mark, which I think it will hold at that point. Even if the market decides to sell a little bit, again, I did take a position in JP as well. They popped up after the news, being said with the bank loaning restrictions and stuff like that. So being said, I think from this point, everything will start actually pushing up. And I started to include some other value stocks that I think can actually benefit moving forward from this point. And understanding that at this point we're solid, right? I think as we continue to see SPY come down, ultimately I think people are just digesting it. Again, this always typically happens after Powell speaks. The digestion is always a sell-off because people aren't really sure what's going on. Then once they fully understand and read the documentation over what Powell is trying to do here, then from that point that we start pushing forward. And again, I think we're going to have a very bullish couple months coming into this. We have to remember that you got big earnings at the end of July. You have your Tesla, your Amazon, your Microsoft, Facebook, all those are coming in the end of July. So I think this will be the dip to buy, right? I think tomorrow will be a big shopping day, maybe even Friday. If we don't start pushing by tomorrow afternoon, I highly believe that we may again gap down, continue to come down a little bit. But ultimately, it is the buying opportunity. Now, there are some stocks out there like your Amazons and your Shopify that have already run pretty hot. So at that point, I think they might pull back a little bit more. While you get other stocks like your Teslas, you got your Palantir, your Apple, which has struggled a little bit, not so much as of late, but it's been struggling quite a bit over the past couple months. I think those will take the lead as you got your Amazons again, and your Shopify's kind of sell off a little bit. I don't think they're going to just drop out of the sky. But I think there will be a little bit of selling there, only to start pushing again from that point. But ultimately, going back to the SPY, again, I think we might drop a little bit more. On the daily, right where this wick essentially hit today, that 419.88 mark is essentially where the daily Meta Bollinger Band is sitting at. Being said, I think we may come back down in here, gap up and just hold maybe flat line tomorrow. Again, I don't see some market crash. Tons of people are talking about market crashes. The way everything is actually kind of set up may lead to the fact that there isn't inflation, right? In the terms that we normally see inflation, that we are or looking at transitory inflation, which is something I talked about, and being understood that this is only a temporary thing because of ultimately, again, the pandemic put us in a really tough spot, supply and demand, right? That's how the market works. But ultimately, understand that at this point, I think we're solid, and I think inflation isn't going to be as bad. In the way that Powell again is coming at this particular problem is very good, because again, the numbers are not there like he has been promising over the last couple months, and every time he's come on and he keeps reiterating, he has stuck to his story. He's making a small tweak. People may take that the wrong way, why we might see a little bit of selling, but ultimately, again, I think this is a dip to buy because you have earnings coming up, and again, it's not going to hold growth back. It's not going to hold any value back. I think there's still a lot of strength in what happened today and what the outcome was in the result. So again, SPY looking a little bit beat up. QQQ same, looking a little beat up on the daily. Again, it bounced off support today, or pretty close to it. I won't be surprised if we are sitting here tomorrow and then pop up. So I think that's ultimately what we're going to do, is we're going to come back down, revisit those supports tomorrow, and then start pushing up into coming weeks. So as far as watch list tomorrow, Tesla, again, I like the fact that Tesla is a leader. It's been kind of really beaten down and held down. Some of your other big stocks have kind of started running. Tesla being a big leader in just kind of sitting behind and really lagging. So that's why I really like Tesla in this position. Again, why I took a position in shares today, because of that fact. Now tomorrow, if Tesla holds, if Tesla starts pushing up, we'll start looking at calls as well, going into earnings, essentially trying to cover earnings as well and play from that side as well. Airbnb, I do like it on the daily. AMD, like it on the daily. Again, all these are kind of going into essentially earnings. AMD, Lemonade, AAL. I do really like AAL as far as value play. JP is something I am swinging overnight. Like I said, something I want to monitor as far as banks moving forward, because if banks started to push up, we had some massive selling over the past couple of days. I think it's a good point to start trying to get some sort of bounce out of that. Again, now those will more likely be overnight swings. For this point, just probably calls more than likely. I don't think I will take any shares in JP, but that's where I am for the watch list. So Tesla being first on the list. Again, on the daily, it looks good, right? We have that 200 support today. And like I said, I was watching this really closely today. I actually shorted this today, intraday. I was looking for that 602 today. I hit that 602. I got short, and it did come down. I wrote it down about that 596 mark. From that point, I actually watched it here. I didn't play it. Again, it was wicking a lot. There's a couple stocks that were doing this early in the morning. It did come back down here to the 593 marker. This is where I was watching it. Buyers really started moving in. So I nabbed it right at the 595 mark. And then it pushed up, and then the news came out and it kind of pushed it back down. But again, it's back up around that 602 mark. It likes to hover around the 602 mark. So I feel comfortable with this position. I think, again, moving forward into earnings, they've been crushing it. And so being said, I think we're going to have a good run into earnings. So that's what I'm essentially going to try to hold these shares. Again, going into earnings, I think we're going to have a good run up for Tesla. It's been a while. Tesla really hasn't acted as old. There's been a lot of news. There's been a lot of different things going on with inflation and everything. So it's really, and like I said, Tesla's really been kind of that indicator as far as that case. So that's why I think we will have a big run in the next month coming up. So Airbnb, again, I missed it today. It looks like it might actually get back down. I'm looking for that about that 147 mark for entry. Again, this is something that I think, again, moving forward, will have a massive play. Again, I do like it on the daily. If we do actually hit down the 144 mark, could be a possibility depending on what plays out tomorrow. but ultimately I wanted to stay above the middle Bollinger Band and at least hold that, try to make its way back up. So that's something I'm keeping my eye on. More than likely, I will trade shares with this. I don't really like trading calls with Airbnb, only because it does wick a lot, and I don't want that to essentially chew up my contracts. AMD is the other one I have. AMD is one I've been watching for the past couple days. I do like the consolidation on the daily. This is what I do really like on AMD. I've been in and out of this a couple different times with these little pops, but ultimately on the daily, it looks really good. As long as we maintain that $79.95, essentially that $80 price point, that is something I'm really looking at tomorrow. Again, this I would like to primarily probably grab shares on this, maybe even some calls on this. I really want to see, again, how much the market wants to sell off, and then make a move from that point. But that is something I'm definitely watching tomorrow. And I also have Lemonade. And the Lemonade is also one I brought up a couple different times. It's gone in and it's gone in and out of a position for me. But again, I do like it. Ultimately, on the daily, it is holding that support. Every time it hits this middle Bollinger Band support, that 92, essentially the 93 mark, it's been holding well. And so I do like it going into earnings. I want to essentially see, again, how we are holding up tomorrow. But I think we can make another big move up. I do like the fact that it's broken out. Now we're retesting. So that's something I will possibly look at, again, either calls or shares. It's all debatable. I think both of them trade very well. The contract premiums can build pretty quickly. So that's one thing I do like about the contracts. Now, AAL is one I've been watching as well for a while. And that's actually the support in itself it's sitting on is solid support on the daily. Doesn't have any EMAs. It's kind of stuck on the EMA, to be honest. There might be some restrictions, but what I do like is this consolidation and holding this. I don't want it to break that 2257 mark, but ultimately I think taking initial shares position in this might be pretty good. And then I think we can get another run back up to that 26 mark. Try to retest it, I think is a possibility, something I'm looking for. So kind of a shorter term swing ultimately is what I'm looking for there. JPM, the news came out today. It had this massive candle that also pushed the dollar way up as well. I think the banks will still be, even though they're kind of restricted to the loans, and those particular things will be changed to where it won't allow really benefit them to hold on to money, allowing them to lend more. I think this will actually recover quite a bit, especially overnight. I won't be surprised if this actually gaps up tonight. That's why I am in calls in this. If it does gap up, possibly to that 160 mark, I might actually get out of this. And then look for it to either retest or get another re-entry, and then look for that break above the 200 and the linear regression line, possibly moving up to 167. At that point, I might actually grab shares at that point, but I want to try to keep a bank on watch, especially going forward, because it has had a massive run up to this point. I believe it was a 75% run to this point. So I think we can at least get some kind of dead cat bounce overnight, and even possibly push a little bit higher, especially on that last news that Powell just came out with. So it'd be interesting to watch. Again, bank is one of the things I do want to keep on watch. But that's what I got for you guys. Again, remember to manage risk. Remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so and have made it this far. And until next time, guys, I will see you later.